Your mood will change 100 times in a day, sometimes without warning. You wake up feeling ready to conquer the world, then one phone call, one piece of news, or one passing thought, and suddenly that fire starts to dim. But your vision, that picture you've carried in your heart, that destination you've mapped out in your mind, that is constant. It doesn't wake up tired. It doesn't care if it's raining outside or if you feel a little off. Your vision doesn't shrink because you feel low. It is waiting for you to show up for it, no matter what your emotions are whispering in the moment. The truth is, moods are like waves. They rise, they fall, they crash without asking for your permission. If you live your life by them, you'll always be tossed around. One day you'll feel invincible and take massive action, and the next day you'll feel drained and take none at all. And what happens then? Progress becomes inconsistent, your growth becomes unpredictable, your dreams become something you chase in spurts instead of something you build daily. But when you choose to anchor yourself to your vision instead of your feelings, everything changes. Because your vision is your North Star, it's the reason you started in the first place. It's the thing that will matter to you 5 years from now, not whether you felt like it today. And this is where most people lose themselves. They forget that their mood is just a moment, but their vision is their legacy. It's not about pretending your emotions don't matter. They do. They're signals. But they're not your compass. They don't get to decide the course of your life. You might feel discouraged, but that doesn't mean you stop. You might feel tired, but that doesn't mean you give up. You might feel scared, but that doesn't mean you walk away from the opportunity in front of you. Your feelings are passengers on the journey, but your vision is the driver. Think about it. Every person you admire, every story of success you've heard is built on this principle. They didn't win because they always felt good. They won because they stayed committed when they didn't. They stuck to the plan on the days they were exhausted, frustrated, and unsure. They showed up in the moments when quitting would have been easy. That's why they got the results they did. Not because their path was smooth, but because they refused to be led by the temporary. You've probably had days where you almost talked yourself out of action. You reasoned with yourself, saying, maybe I'll start tomorrow, or I'm not in the right headspace. But deep down, you know something tomorrow never shows up the way you imagine. The right headspace rarely comes before the action. More often than not, it's the action that creates the headspace. So what if you made a decision right now to become someone who acts regardless of mood? What if your commitment to your vision was so strong that feelings simply couldn't override it? Imagine the momentum you'd build, imagine the trust you'd develop with yourself, because when you stick to the vision despite your mood, you're telling yourself, I can be counted on, I can be trusted to follow through. And that's how you transform, not just your results, but your identity. Your vision is the bigger picture. It's the house you're building, brick by brick. Your mood is the weather on any given day. It can't stop you from laying the bricks unless you let it. Some days it's sunny, and it feels amazing to work. Other days it's pouring rain, and it's uncomfortable, but the work still gets done. And when the work still gets done, the house still gets built. You have to remember, your mood is not a reliable partner in your success. It's too changeable, too emotional, too tied to the noise of the day. Your vision, however, is steadfast. It's the promise you made to yourself when you were clear-minded, when you saw the future you wanted and said, this is where I'm going. There will be days when your mood says, take it easy, no one will notice if you skip. But your vision will notice, your future self will notice. Every step you don't take is one more day you have to wait for the life you want. And every step you do take, even when it's uncomfortable, is one day closer to becoming the person you promised yourself you'd be. So when you wake up tomorrow and your mood isn't on your side, remember this, you are not your feelings. You are your choices, you are the actions you take. Your mood is temporary, your vision is permanent, and the moment you start living like that, you stop being a prisoner to how you feel and start becoming the architect of the life you were meant to build. Motivation is exciting. It's that rush you feel when you're inspired, when the idea is fresh and the possibilities seem endless. It makes you believe you can do anything. But here's the truth that most people don't like to admit. Motivation is a guest, not a resident. It visits when it wants to. It stays for a while, and then it leaves. And when it leaves, that's where most people lose their way. They think something's wrong because they no longer feel that same fire. But nothing's wrong. That's just how motivation works. This is where discipline steps in. Discipline isn't about feeling, it's about doing. It's the quiet, consistent force that says we're still moving forward, even when every part of you wants to stop. If motivation is the spark that starts the engine, discipline is the fuel that keeps it running when the road feels long. Think about any goal you've set for yourself. At the beginning, you're excited. You can see the outcome clearly in your mind. You tell yourself, this is it. This time I'm going all the way. And for the first few days or weeks, it's easy. You've got energy, you've got drive, but then life happens. The excitement fades, distractions come, progress feels slower than you hoped. This is the moment that separates dreamers from doers. The dreamers wait for motivation to return before they act again. The doers rely on discipline to carry them through the stretch where feelings aren't enough. They understand that discipline is a choice you make daily, not a mood you wait for. Discipline doesn't care if you're tired, if you're not in the mood, if the weather's bad, or if no one is watching. Discipline is the agreement you make with yourself that you'll show up regardless. And the beautiful thing is, once you build that muscle, it starts to carry you further than motivation ever could. Because motivation will always come and go, but discipline becomes who you are. There's a certain power in knowing you can count on yourself. When you say you're going to do something and you follow through over and over again, you start to trust yourself in a way that changes everything. You stop being controlled by the highs and lows of how you feel, and you start living by the standard you've set, and that's where real transformation happens. It's not glamorous. There's nothing flashy about getting up early every day to train, or sitting down to work when you'd rather relax, or making the harder choice over the easier one. But every time you choose discipline over comfort, you're making a deposit into the account of your future. Those deposits may seem small in the moment, but over time they compound into results that are impossible to ignore. Motivation will tell you to run hard when the road is smooth. Discipline will tell you to keep running when the road is uphill, when the wind is against you, when no one is cheering. And that's when it matters most, because those are the moments that build your resilience. Those are the moments that shape the kind of person you become. You'll notice something powerful when you lean on discipline instead of waiting for motivation. You don't lose momentum as easily. You stop starting over. You keep building day after day until the work becomes second nature. And once something becomes part of who you are, it's no longer a battle every day to decide whether to do it. You just do it. The truth is, motivation can make you feel ready, but discipline makes you unstoppable. One is a feeling, the other is a habit, and habits once built are stronger than any mood you'll ever have. So when motivation drifts, and it will, don't see it as a sign to slow down. See it as your chance to prove to yourself that you're in this for more than just the high of feeling inspired. Let discipline be your anchor. Let it hold you steady when the waves of distraction, doubt, and fatigue try to pull you away from your course. Because in the end, it won't be the days you felt motivated that define you. It will be the days you didn't, and you showed up anyway. If you wait until you feel ready, you will wait forever. That's the trap so many people fall into. They believe progress happens only when the stars align, when their energy is high, when they're in the right mood, when life feels just right. But the truth is, those perfect moments are rare. If you build your life around them, your growth will be slow, inconsistent, and frustrating. Progress isn't about waiting for a green light from your feelings. It's about showing up consistently, even when your emotions are giving you every reason not to. Consistency is the quiet power that doesn't look impressive in the moment, but transforms everything over time. It's not about doing huge, dramatic things once in a while. It's about the daily actions, the small commitments you keep repeating until they build into something undeniable. The people you see succeeding in any area, whether it's in their career, their health, their relationship, are not the ones who waited to feel good before they acted. They are the ones who moved forward in the middle of discomfort, boredom, doubt, and fatigue. Your feelings are important, but they're not reliable. They shift with the smallest changes in your day. Too little sleep, a tough conversation, a sudden distraction. If you give them the authority to decide whether you work toward your goals, you'll always be at their mercy. Some days they'll tell you to go for it. Other days they'll tell you to rest, to procrastinate, to put it off. And the dangerous thing is, those days can pile up quickly. A skipped day becomes a skipped week, and suddenly you're wondering why you've lost your momentum. Consistency doesn't ask for your feelings' approval. It doesn't check in with your mood to see if today is a good day to act. It just does the work, and the beauty of that is, the more consistent you are, the less power your feelings have over you. You start to see results even on days you didn't feel like doing anything, and that builds a different kind of confidence, one that isn't tied to inspiration but to self-trust. Think about the times you've made a little bit of progress, then stopped because you didn't feel it anymore. Maybe you started working out, made it 2 weeks, then missed a few days because you were tired. Or you began a new project, felt excited in the first phase, then slowed down when it became repetitive or challenging. Each time the break wasn't because you couldn't keep going, it was because you were waiting for your feelings to give you permission, and feelings don't care about your deadlines or your dreams. The truth is, consistency beats intensity. Anyone can go hard for a few days when they're excited, but the person who keeps showing up, quietly and steadily, will always outpace the one who works only when they feel like it, because consistency compounds. It multiplies your effort in ways you can't see in the moment, but will always feel later. There's a kind of freedom that comes when you stop asking your feelings for permission. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop making daily decisions about whether you'll act because you've already decided, this is who I am, this is what I do, no matter how I feel. And when you live that way, your results stop being unpredictable. They stop depending on the mood of the day. They become inevitable. That's when progress feels unstoppable, not because you never struggle, but because struggle no longer controls you. You can have a bad day and still take a step forward. You can feel unmotivated and still follow through. You can be tired and still make progress. And each time you do, you're teaching yourself something powerful, that you're not a servant to your feelings. You're the one in charge. Feelings are temporary. Progress is built on what you do consistently, not on what you do occasionally when the conditions are perfect. So stop waiting for your feelings to open the door for you. Push it open yourself. Show up. Take the step, do it again tomorrow, because in the end, the people who build the life they want aren't the ones who feel ready all the time. They are the ones who act anyway. Some days you wake up, and it feels like the sun is shining inside you. You're full of energy, ideas come easily, and nothing seems too hard. Other days feel heavy, like a storm rolled in overnight. You can't explain why, but the thought of taking action feels like climbing a mountain with no end in sight. That's what I call emotional weather, and just like real weather, it can change in an instant. The mistake so many people make is letting their commitments be ruled by those changes. If you only keep your promises to yourself when the emotional skies are clear, you'll never get very far, because life isn't a series of perfect weather days. It's a mix: sunny days, stormy days, cloudy days where nothing feels certain. Your success depends on your ability to keep moving regardless of the forecast. Your commitments are the shelter you build to protect yourself from that emotional weather. They are the structures you've put in place to make sure you keep showing up, even when your mood is unpredictable. But they only work if you stick to them when it's uncomfortable. It's easy to follow through when you're excited, motivated, and happy. It's much harder when you're discouraged, distracted, or tired, and yet that's when it matters most. Think of it like a farmer who plants crops. They don't plant only when the sun is shining. They don't harvest only when the wind is calm. They work through rain, heat, and wind because the seasons won't wait for their mood to catch up. The crops grow because the farmer keeps showing up, not because every day feels perfect. The same is true for your goals. They grow when you keep working, no matter the weather inside you. The problem with letting your emotions dictate your actions is that emotions are reactive. They respond to what's happening in the moment, not to where you're trying to go. One small frustration can cloud your entire day if you let it. One piece of bad news can make you want to pull the covers over your head. But your commitments are tied to something big: your vision, your values, the person you're becoming. They're not about what's happening now, but about what you're building over time. When you decide that your commitments are non-negotiable, you create stability for yourself. You stop starting over every time the weather changes. You stop losing momentum because of a few bad days. You start training your mind to push forward even when your emotions try to slow you down. And over time, that ability becomes one of your greatest strengths. There will always be storms. There will always be days when you don't feel like moving, when the weight of everything you're carrying feels too heavy. But if you've made the decision that your commitments stand, no matter what, you won't be as easily swayed. You'll keep moving, not because you're in the mood, but because you said you would. And here's the beautiful thing: when you follow through during your storms, the sunny days feel even more powerful. You appreciate them more because you know you earned them. You didn't just wait for them to arrive. You worked through the wind and rain to get there. You can't control emotional weather any more than you can control the clouds in the sky, but you can control how you respond to it. You can choose to let it dictate your actions, or you can choose to be the kind of person whose commitments hold firm, rain or shine. Because the truth is, emotional storms pass, the bad day passes, the low moment passes. But the progress you make in spite of them, that stays. That's what builds your character. That's what gets you closer to the life you want. So when you wake up tomorrow and the emotional weather feels heavy, remember this: you are not the storm. You are the one steering the ship. And the ship moves because of your commitments, not the mood of the sea. Self-doubt has a way of showing up uninvited, especially when you're pushing yourself towards something bigger. It doesn't always come loud and obvious. It can slip in quietly, disguised as caution, disguised as logic. It whispers questions you wouldn't ask anyone else, but somehow you allow yourself to ask: am I really capable of this? What if I fail? What if I'm not ready? And if you're not careful, those questions start to slow you down. They make you second guess decisions you've already made. They make you hesitate at the very moment you need to move. This is why having a plan matters. A clear, deliberate plan is more than just a list of steps. It's a shield. It protects you from the endless back and forth of indecision. It gives you something solid to follow when your emotions or your self-belief waver. Because when doubt creeps in, it feeds on uncertainty. The less structure you have, the more room there is for it to convince you to stop, to wait, to change course before you've given yourself a fair chance. A plan doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be clear enough to guide you forward when your mind starts trying to pull you backward. On good days, it keeps you organized. On hard days, it keeps you from getting lost in the noise of your thoughts. It's your anchor when the wind of uncertainty starts to push you off track. Think about the moments when you've been most tempted to quit. Often, they're the moments when the path ahead felt blurry. You weren't sure what the next step was, or you started comparing yourself to others and convincing yourself you were behind. Without a plan, it's easy to spiral into those thoughts and stall out completely. But with a plan, you don't have to debate with your doubt. You simply follow the next step, regardless of how you feel. The power of a plan is that it turns your focus away from what you can't control. Your emotions, other people's opinions, the timing of opportunities, and points it toward what you can control, the actions you take today. Self-doubt thrives when you give it time and attention. A plan forces you into action, and action leaves less space for those thoughts to take root. It's like crossing a bridge in the fog. If you keep staring into the mist, you'll start imagining what might be hiding there. But if you trust the bridge beneath your feet and keep walking, step by step, you'll reach the other side without getting lost in fear. Your plan is that bridge. It keeps you moving, even when you can't see the entire way forward. Some people think they need to feel confident before they can follow their plan, but it's the other way around. Following the plan, especially when you're unsure, is what builds confidence. Every small win proves to you that you can keep going. Every completed step is evidence that your doubt is lying to you, and the more evidence you gather, the quieter that doubt becomes. You'll never eliminate self-doubt completely. It's part of being human. But you can strip it of its power. You do that by deciding ahead of time what you'll do, and then doing it, no matter what your mind tries to convince you of in the moment. The plan makes the decision for you before the doubt arrives. It doesn't get to negotiate with you because the choice has already been made. There's something incredibly freeing about that. You stop wasting energy questioning yourself and start putting that energy into the work that matters. You stop living in your head and start living in your actions. And over time, the person who once hesitated starts becoming the person who acts. The person who once overthought everything starts becoming the person who moves forward with certainty, not because they never doubt, but because they've learned how to move in spite of it. Your plan isn't just a strategy for reaching your goals. It's your defense against the voice that tells you to give up. It's your reminder that you've already chosen this path for a reason. And every time you choose the plan over the doubt, you strengthen that reason. Because in the end, self-doubt will always try to speak, but if you have a plan, you don't have to listen. You just have to take the next step, and then the one after that. And if you keep doing that, no amount of doubt can keep you from arriving where you're meant to go. The difference between the people who finish and the people who almost did isn't talent, intelligence, or luck. It's the ability to stick to the plan when every part of them wants to stop. Mood followers quit because they're chasing a feeling. The moment that feeling fades, so does their effort. Plan stickers win because they're chasing a result, and they understand that results don't care about moods. When you build your actions around how you feel in the moment, you become inconsistent without even realizing it. One day you'll give everything, the next you'll give nothing, and before long, you've lost the rhythm you were building. And the cruel thing about momentum is that it's much harder to restart than it is to maintain. Mood followers live in that cycle. They start strong, stop when they're tired or discouraged, and spend weeks trying to get back to where they once were. Plan stickers avoid that trap because they've made a commitment that doesn't need daily renegotiation. They don't wake up each morning and ask, "Do I feel like doing this today?" The decision has already been made. They simply follow the steps, trusting that the process will work even if the day doesn't feel perfect. And that's what makes them dangerous. In the best way possible, they're not relying on fleeting bursts of motivation. They're building habits that carry them forward no matter what. There's a quiet strength in that. Mood followers might have high-energy days that look impressive from the outside, but their inconsistency will eventually betray them. Plan stickers may not always look flashy in the moment, but over time, their steady pace outlasts every sprint. They keep moving through the days that feel flat, the mornings that feel heavy, and the evenings when they're tempted to skip just this once. And because they keep moving, they keep winning. It's not that plan stickers don't have bad days. They do. It's that they refuse to let a bad day turn into a bad week, and a bad week into a bad month. They've trained themselves to treat action as non-negotiable, like brushing their teeth or showing up to work. They don't need to feel excited to follow through. They know excitement is a bonus, not a requirement. Following your mood might feel easier in the short term, but it always costs you more in the long run. Because every time you let a feeling dictate your choice, you're reinforcing the idea that emotions have authority over your actions. And once you give them that power, it's hard to take it back. But when you stick to the plan, you send yourself a different message: I lead, my moods follow. That shift in identity is everything, and here's the truth. There's nothing glamorous about doing the work when you don't feel like it. It doesn't get applause. It doesn't feel exciting in the moment. But those are the days that define you. Those are the days that separate the ones who wish from the ones who win. When you stick to the plan through the storms, you're not just building results, you're building resilience. You're proving to yourself that you can keep going without constant emotional permission. The beauty of being a plan sticker is that over time, the process itself becomes the reward. You stop obsessing over whether you're in the mood because the habit is now a part of you. You don't need to psych yourself up every day because the doing has become natural, and that's when you become truly unstoppable, not because you never face challenges, but because challenges can't knock you off course. Mood followers quit because they're driven by highs that never last. Plan stickers win because they're driven by a decision that does. And if you want to be the kind of person who actually reaches the finish line, you have to decide now which one you'll be. Because the race is long, the weather will change, and your feelings will come and go. But if you keep showing up day after day, no matter how you feel, there's only one possible outcome: you win.